Are you ready?
Yes, let me check the camera. I can't see myself. Is the camera okay? Yes, here we go.
Kamera ist okay. Achtung, fertig, los.
Thanks. Today I want to answer the live old question. What the fuck are our users doing? Does any of you know how often a certain button is clicked? Does any of you know how often a certain page is used? Does any of you have any knowledge which is normal in the website world since like 15 years? I have Google Analytics on my website. I know everything about my users on my website. But before we go into details, I'm Johann. I'm a Salesforce admin from Berlin. I run a small app exchange company which is called Admin's Helper. I produce small but powerful app exchange. And hit me up on LinkedIn and Twitter. The code for everything I talk about will be shared via GitHub for people who want to know on LinkedIn and Twitter. Event monitoring, yes. First of all, this is us. This was my team I was working for, Audi Bene, 5 people, thousands and thousands of tickets. We did everything our users for. This is not Sandbox. This is not our admin view. This is the actual user view. 3 rows of buttons, 4 rows of related lists. We did everything our users wanted. This was horrible from usability. Every button worked, but we had no way of actually knowing what has worked. And we asked our users, and our users told us, I use this all the time. This is very important to me. Just yesterday, I needed that. And we had no way to clarify, to validate, to this unvalidated. What would be normal on every website to actually know what the users are doing? We have no way of doing that in Salesforce. Or does any of you know? Does event monitoring show me which button is clicked? No, we got it to work. 3 months later, we had 2 buttons left. 2 out of all of these rows. And how did we do it? We stopped listening to people. We got hard facts. We stopped emotions. We tracked every single button. How often is this button actually used? And yes, the button send flower bouquet. This is my example I love here. It actually sends flower bouquet is useful in theory, but only a used feature is a good feature. And only a clean org is a good org. It doesn't matter what is the intention behind the feature. It doesn't matter how good the feature could be in theory. If nobody clicks the button has no value. And by nobody, I mean below 30% of your user base on a regular basis. I don't say a button. So we learn from Andre what to track. Fields, records created. Great. If an object is not used, we don't create any records anymore. Delete the object from your system. Simple enough. But how often is a button clicked? How often is a certain page clicked, viewed? How often is a certain tab in Lightning, especially with Lightning with the new complex layouts, actually viewed? How often is a flow started and finished? We have no idea of knowing. And this, because Salesforce does give us no feature adoption tracking out of the box. But if you use the code I provide you on GitHub, a few lines of code, and a few custom objects, you can track everything in your org super really fast. And I think I would I would say each of your projects for everything should have that. How does it actually work? I go from the left. We have something which triggers the adoption tracking. So you have to add it to a flow, process builder, Lightning component. It doesn't automatically add itself to everything. You have to do it yourself. And then you or Visual Force page, Apex, I think we have a small helper method, which is called feature adoption tracking or something. Adoption counter class, you give it 2 parameters. What is the feature and what is the action the user did? Then the class itself does all the magic. It's not that much magic. It's a couple of lines of code. And then what it does, it starts to create records, 1 record per feature, per action per user per day, because I didn't need it more granularly. I needed to know, Johann used that feature on Sunday 5 times. That's it. And with that, going forward, every single feature you can do tracking. The tracking part is the easy part. This is technically super simple. Now the hard part comes, the business. You have to start to talk to your business users and you have to tell them the hard truth, your managers, your team leads. Your feature we built for you is useless. And one of them is, we all know it, the tab on the lead page. Show the news recently about this company. Who of you has seen this? The CEO features, I like to call them. Sound great on paper. We have to track how often is this lead detail page actually used. And in order to do that, we use feature adoption tracking. We have a small Lightning component. It's actually Aura. You just drag and drop it onto the page on wherever you want to have it. It's super lightweight. It does a super simple call to the server. User will not see any difference in performance. You define the feature, the action, you're done. You can do that with any page, with any tab, wherever you want. No excuse not to do it. Nah, Trish, thanks for laughing. I mean that. Same as for database level actions. Hey, as a manager, I want to know who changes the opportunity owner for closed opportunities in order to stop cheating. There was this rumor in our company that people cheat. Good news is actually it wasn't true. So even for rumors, it's important to check. What we did is, again, I'm such a fan of invocable methods. We have a small invocable method. You add it to either process builder, which we don't do anymore. Discard the screenshots here. I'm sorry, they are old. Of course, to a flow, and we say every time an opportunity with a closed owner is changed in a closed opportunity, we pass it to parameters, and the feature adoption tracking does the same. Put a stop to all the guesswork. How often does this happen? Oh, it happens all the time. Stop that now. Start getting hard data. And the last one is about Lightning components. I mean, I do app exchange packages, and I do the same. I do beta testing with unmanaged packages. No worries, my packages are not tracked, but the unmanaged one, I want to know how often the Aura button send email is actually clicked. And again, this is a true story. We had a button which 1,000 of our users claimed to click all the time, which sent an email to the users. So what you do is you just add one line of code. This is for all the developers here in the group. You pass it 2 attributes. Again, the same feature and action, and that's it. No more excuse not to track your Lightning components. If you don't want to take my code, which I completely would understand, it's super easy to build yourself. Every developer can do this in a day. You have to use the data. So before go live, this is the hard part. Go to your team lead, to your manager, to your product owner, and ask, how often do you think will this button be clicked? Does any of you do this ever? Nope. We have no idea. We build something and say it will make us 50,000 euro. How exactly, we don't know. Track adoption regularly. Track after 1 week, after 1 month, after 6 months, after 12 months. I just create calendar reminders. And then inform the users. Also inform your product owners if it actually is used. I made the mistake of just informing them about the bad news. I learned my lesson. Also the good news are important. Just make it a habit. Adoption tracking is a part of the feature lifecycle. We are not done when a feature is live. And with that, I want to thank you very much. Looking forward to get your feedback on Twitter and LinkedIn. And thanks a lot, Martin, for putting that together. Thanks a lot. Super question about the big volume. Nope, the data is not that much because it's just 1 record per user per day, which actually doesn't make a lot of data. You have a couple of thousand records after a couple of weeks. You just delete it. You stop tracking at some point. You don't track everything all the time. Okay.
Cool. And
Nice.
I do have a question. What's the number?
1.
1.
Yeah,
okay.
And if somebody has to start.
Absolutely respect it. So the next speaker we do have is Fabian.